Hi guys, we're back. We're doing another one of the Inktober tangles. This will be a quick one. It's a single tangle. We're gonna do Caro, C-A-R-O, by CZT Lucy Farran. We're gonna make sure we're seated in a comfortable chair and we're well supported. We're gonna take a big deep breath, hold it, and blow out through our mouth. Now we're going to think of something that we're grateful for. And it can be big or it can be small. It can be absolutely anything at all. I'm going to pick up my pencil. I'm going to look at my piece of paper. Again, it's just a piece of paper from a scrapbook. It's 9 centimeters by 9 centimeters. It's the same as a regular Zentangle tile, but it's a little cost effective. It's important that you work with what you got. Sometimes a Post-it note is also a really good size because of how compact it is. You could also get some scrap construction paper in different colors. Small square is enough. Just to practice the method, because it's that mindfulness that we're looking for. It doesn't matter about the outcome because it's never planned. So then we're going to connect our dots to create our border or our workspace. All right, so Caro, C-A-R-O, is one that works on or builds off a triangle. So for the point of interest, I'm just gonna do an X in the middle of my tile to give me a ballpark triangle shape where I can start. And I'm gonna put my pencil down, pick up my pen, move my pencil and my tortillon out of the way. And the first step for Caro is inking in that triangle. Not be perfect, but as good as well as you can accomplish is what we're looking for. Then in the center of the triangle, or as close to the center as you can think, we're going to put a dot. And that's going to be the anchor point for the next design. And for Caro, we're going to do 3 different heart shapes. And the peak of the heart shape, or I guess the center point where the 2 halves of the heart meet, we're going to try and align with our corners here. So I'll show you the first one. You want it to touch up to the side and then in line with the corner, and then up to touch this side and then back to our center point. And then we're going to rotate our tile. We're going to have to do a different shaped heart because our triangle is a little longer, but the premise is the same. You want to go up to the side, come down so that your center point lines up with this center point or close, and then this side, and then back to the center. And then change it so that you can do your third scheme thing. We're going to line it up here, start at the bottom, touch the side, come into the center point in line with our corner, complete our heart shape touching this side, and then bring it back. Okay? So we have 3 heart type shapes inside the triangle. The next step for Caro is to trace the inside line of our triangle behind, so we're going to lift our pen when we get to the heart, behind the 3 hearts or the 3 leaves. We're going to go all the way around the inside of our shape, rotating our tile to make the stroke easier. Gentle grip on the pen, remembering to breathe. All right, so we have 1. The next step is to do an orb in the gap. The gap between those two. And you want to try and bump it up against all the sides of your lines. That's it. We're going to go and finish that line that wasn't touching. We're going to do a third one between here. All right. Now, we got to ink in the gaps behind the heart, or the hearts, or the shapes, or the whatever you would like to call them. I'm going to start at the corners because I might do something else in the other. I haven't really decided yet. What you're just trying to do is to create a contrast in pattern between the white hearts or whatever color hearts of the paper you might have, and the inked in part behind it. I think I'm just going to ink them all in as per the original step out for Caro. And then we'll do something different on the next one. We'll do a couple on the tile. Careful to try and just make sure there's no white spots or no paper colored spots. You get all of the area covered. And it's okay to slow down. Well, it's okay to pause the video. Sometimes that's the perk of doing the video instead of the live class. You guys can go at your own pace if you already get it, and you can slide it ahead while I'm inking it in. It's all there and versatile enough to do what you need it to do. I hear my dog getting a drink of water. That'll be fun. Okay, so at the bottom of your hearts, we're gonna do some accents, and it's just meant to be like a flick of the pen. So you hold it at the thing and just a quick, and maybe it doesn't show up on yours, but it's just a light flick of the pen. It's just to give kind of a movement or a bend type effect to those shapes of the leaves. And that is one Caro. So I'm going to extend the line of my triangle. This way. And I think I'm going to try and make it this way. And similarly, I'm going to extend this line about the same distance. And I'm going to extend this line about the same distance. Just draw 2 more triangles, and I'll do a Caro in each of them. You can do more, or you can do less, or you can do bigger or smaller. That's up to you. So same thing, we have our triangle. Put an anchor point about the center. And then we're going to draw our 3 hearts so that the center point is in line with the corner point of the triangle. Rotate the tile to help with your stroke. Try and touch all 3 sides. Your hearts will not all be the same because your triangle may not be perfectly triangular to find that balance, but that's okay. All right, so once we have our 3 hearts, we're gonna trace the interior of our triangle. Underneath the hearts, we're gonna lift our pen so we don't cross the line. Conscious of making the line that you trace inside your triangle the same thickness all the way around-ish. We're gonna draw our orbs. We're going to do our pin flicks, 2 or 3, depending on how wide or narrow your heart shapes are. And then instead of coloring it in or inking it all in black, I think I'm just going to do like vertical lines really close together. And I'm going to try and keep the angle of those lines consistent through all of the gaps that I inked in the first one we did. Just to show you there are different ways of adding ink and contrast without having to ink the whole thing in. Sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes it really does a number on your pen, which you would prefer to avoid. If you want, you can do the inking in with a different color because there are no restrictions. And we're going to move on to our third Caro. Again, we have our anchor point already. Start with our dot, go up towards one corner, rotate our tile. This one's not really in the center, but that's what happens sometimes. The overall effect will be the same because the steps will be the same. All right, so we've done our 3 hearts. The next step is to trace the inside of our triangle. Drawing behind, we're lifting our pen when we get to the line, imagining the line continuing, and then setting our pen down in that same direction to complete the stroke when we have the space to do so. And then we're going to do our orbs. This one is definitely orbish because it's far more oval than circular. But there's no expectation of perfection in Zentangle, so it's perfect. It's just the way we were meant to draw it in this moment. And this time, I think I'm going to ink in around the orbs. Trying to make sure there's no white gaps or paper colored gaps depending on the color you're using. And then I'm going to do the vertical lines that I did in the second Caro, just in the corners, but this time I'm gonna do them in the direction of the corner that they're going to. Just to show you that even with the same pattern, you can add your own unique twist to it. And then we'll go back. Sometimes I forget steps. Excuse me. And add our flicks. I'm gonna cap our pen. Pick up our pencil. And I'm gonna add some shade to the orbs by doing like a happy face. The side of my pencil with the graphite. And I think I'm going to try and do some just at the base of the Caro and see what that looks like. That's just about adding dimension. And I might add all right, I'm gonna get my trusty tortillon. First I'm gonna start by just moving the graphite out and up either side of my Caro. Important when you add shade to leave white space so you can see the contrast. If you just provide shade to all of it, then they don't have the contrast effect that you're looking for. As you can see, a little bit of graphite goes a long way. And even that pencil line I did to start, I can buff that out with my tortillon. And it, in and of itself, can serve like the frame of the workspace sometimes. Circular motions work best. And sometimes if you press too hard, it's a little harder to buff it out, but you can try. There's never any harm in the try. Continue to buff out our lines. These are from the X that I did to start. And pick up my pen. I'm gonna add my chop or my artist mark, which is a version of your initials or initial. I'm gonna recap my pen and take a moment. This one was Caro by CZT Lucy Farran. And it's part of Inktober 2023. Big deep breath. Moment of appreciation for the time you took to quiet your mind and to calm down. And I'll see you again. Thanks, guys.